What's up, y'all? It has been a minute. Um, yeah. So actually, as you see on the road, I'm in St. Louis right now. But I told y'all last week we was gonna do a live stream. I was trying to do it last week and something came up and I just said no, but I gotta get back to doing it because I need content. And we took a full week off last week from the podcast, the Thursday show as well as the live stream. So this week, everything is back up. The podcast and the live stream. So we back for today's episode. Another solo episode. Now I was gonna have a guest. He couldn't do it, but he'll be back next Monday for sure. And I'll be back to having guests because again, I like those opinions on this. So so let's just jump right into it. So the last episode that was recorded was the episode with Stoy Hall. That episode was recorded in January. And it was about as a man while you're a brokey. Now, this was before I was still trying to figure out what direction to go with this season. So that was one of the earlier recordings. And we about to set the new parts up for the recordings or like the new drops. But I actually have some more to start recording because a lot of my ones sitting in the bank are kind of depleting. And I think I have I know for sure 4 more. But one of them really don't count because it's going to be used at the right before the mid-season series, so it really don't count. And then I'm kind of thinking about something different this year. I don't know that I don't want to put his episode back too late. I'm gonna pray on it, but I'm thinking I might push the mid-season series back to towards the end of the season. I don't know. That'd be interesting. But long story short, that episode we talked about just financial aspects that are overlooked that we don't get a chance to see. Story Hall knows his stuff, talking about being growing up biracial, and I think it was Iowa or Nebraska, one of them. And let's give him his takes on that. And we talked a lot about what we don't know as a community, talking about your first money memory, talking about, what it's like to have money and then blow it. What's it like to not have none and try to get it and trying to nickel and dime. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, it's a really good one. Anything behind the scenes about that episode. What I liked about the episode is he actually recorded an episode. We actually recorded an episode for his podcast weeks after that recorded, and that one actually dropped the same time my first episode of this season dropped. And he's somebody I need to bring back. I actually think I might put him on the Mental Man Monday live stream. I think that'll be good. So yeah, it was a good one. What else did I like about that episode? I thought that they all have gems, but it's funny because like I always say, when you record them, you never know the impact they're going to have until they drop, especially ones that were recorded so long ago. And because that one drop was recorded in January and dropped in May, like 4 months ago. So yeah, we still got a bunch of stuff we got to drop. So just be prepared for that. And I'm just happy that the series is over. I enjoyed the series, but I'm just kind of happy it's over because, it was good. Another series under my belt. And first time I ever started a season with the series. So yeah. All right. So let's move to the first topic for today. So we're going to talk about Cameron. Now, we talked about Travis Hunter a while ago. Now, y'all know he just got married. And Cameron said on his podcast, he has some takes to see. Now, I haven't even officially heard what he said. So I'm going to share my screen, compliments of the Shade Room, because it's easy that way. And we're going to listen to what Cameron said because he has some interesting things to say.
Caught up in that, trying to kick out, and it's been 8 months. And
they faced a lot of criticism for different things. A lot of people have been concerned on them not having a prenup agreement, sources say. Mase, what's your opinion on the young love?
I don't know. I'm gonna sit this one out. I think when it comes to the young lady, she does have like different things that have transpired for me as a dad. If that was my son, I would definitely be concerned about. I think there's other ways you could protect his assets, but I definitely would think he should look in the direction of protecting his assets. Maybe not with a prenup, but there's other things you could do these days.
Yeah, they'll try to hit you with that. Why I get a prenup if you really love me? If you really love me, sign the prenup. What you here for? If you here for love, just sign this joint and you don't get none of my money because the love is free. What you need? What are we doing here? I'm not signing. I mean, do what you want, Travis. That's up to you. I'm not signing a prenup unless Shorty getting as much money as I get, or more than me. If you're not getting more than me, you have to sign a prenup. It just works like that for me. I don't get it. I don't know why love needs to be defined by a piece of paper. Why we can't just be love each other and do paper? What paperwork got to do with it? Look at Remy and Pat. We're crazy all weekend over that, man. It's wild, man. All because of this piece of paper. They was black love. Now, I'm not taking nobody's side. Remy's my friend and Pap's my friend. I don't have a side in this. All because of some paper. It is messy all weekend. Remy pulling out pawn shop receipt, talking about her Cartier bracelet is missing. Pap talking about he knocked out that she dating. This has been a mess all weekend. You know why? Because of this piece of paper. When you're a girlfriend or boyfriend, just leave. And I know Squad is right. You ain't staying that long to where you think you live here. They'll run that too, fellas. Don't get caught up in that. Try and kick her out, and it's been 8 months, and now she got squatters' rights and all that. Yo, get that 10-day joint, go home for 10 and come back for 10.
Of course, on the internet, you know, they faced a lot of criticism.
All right, lots to unpack. So what does this have to do with mental health? So obviously, Cameron and Mase are ex-rappers, podcasters, and they had given a take on the situation that happened with Travis Hunter and his now wife, and not signing a prenup. And social media and storm everybody think he's stupid. From Travis' angle, he's like, I'm in love. Why does it matter? I'm actually anti-prenup, but there's a reason for that. But in Travis's case, I'm anti with a twist, or with certain stipulations, I would say. I feel like it's a case-by-case thing. Like, I wouldn't, but if I was Travis, I probably would. But anyway, so Cameron gave his spiel, bringing up the whole Remy and Pap thing, and mental health wise, like, you know, what does it have to do with like how we act, think, and feel? I get his take on it. He's been in the industry for a very long time, and I also agree with his statement. Say we ain't making the same amount of money, or you ain't making more than me, then you're signing a prenup. But also, Cameron has been in the industry for many, many years. A lot of times, these people talking about signing prenups. How you getting somebody sign a prenup? You don't nobody know you. You are a school teacher. Don't nobody want no money from you. You know what I mean? So them, I can understand saying that. And I'm not saying just because you're rich and famous, you should automatically get one either. I still believe in, you know, but in the same breath, you making 50K a year, my guy. Nobody wants no money from you. You don't need to make her sign no prenup with 50K a year. Just saying. Just saying. So keep that in mind. WWID, what would I do in this situation? So here we go. So if I was Travis, I would make her do that. But if I was to get married tomorrow, would I make my wife sign a prenup? No. I have a different view because, again, marriage is God ordained. And if you are truly walking with God for real and intimate with Christ, God will show you who your wife is and confirm whether or not the lady you're dating is your wife and the lady that's your husband. So if it's God ordained, do you need a prenup? I would say no, because the goal will be to death do you part as it's supposed to be. Now, of course, you can throw the monkey wrench and say, well, what if, you know, y'all basically getting y'all flesh and break up? Then, you know, whatever. But I still not an advocate for it. And I just know my wife is going to be rich too. People may say I'm stupid or I might be childish, but we're going to break this down actually later in the season. So, stay tuned for that. I want to hear y'all's take on that. I would. Now, I don't agree with Cam's take on, let's just go to the next segment. WWJD, what would Jesus do? I don't agree with his statement when he was just like, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's not a piece of paper. It's not just a piece of paper. It is literally ordained by God. In the spirit realm, a covenant has been established. Technically, a covenant has been established when y'all had sex. That's a conversation people are not ready for. And I'm sure I might catch hell on that. But so it was just a piece of paper, and like Remy and, you know, Pap going through all this because of a piece of paper. And if they was just boyfriend and girlfriend, they could have just left. And I get that. But see, that's people's problem. Nobody want to fight for nothing. And it's sad what they're going through. But What would Jesus do in this situation? Would he make his wife sign a prenup? No. Ethically, morally correct thing to do? No. But with the Remy and Pap situation, because it has gotten messy, people can say, well, it's because they was married and all this, but and it's another excuse for people not to get married. Because people always, I think it's convenient how it's always publicized these messy divorces. But you do rarely see, and I'm saying they don't show it, but you rarely see relationships that are thriving for real publicly. You know, he had a point when it was like, well, they was black love, and now look at them. And it's like, you rarely, I believe that's by design that's happening and getting everybody just to stay single, because why is there such an attack on marriage? Why is there such an attack on men versus women? Why do you think that is? That's not just coincidence. That's by design. You can say it's a conspiracy theory, but see, it's deeper than just the government. It's much deeper than that. And that's a conversation we might need to go to at a later date. WSMD, what should men do in this situation? In the case of Travis Hunter and his fiance, I think that people show you who they are. And if that's why I said it's a case by case scenario, because the thing is, them red flags look like Six Flags. And so you overlooking stuff, but people always show you who they are. You make excuses for it, or because every time you look back at something, you be like, well, I remember they did this. Yeah, I remember that months ago, she had that situation where she was doing all that extra stuff and being entitled and controlling. That was several months ago. So it's kind of like, signs is there, my guy. What we doing? You know, people don't want to hear the truth. So I don't know. I'm not gonna judge him too much. I don't want him to be I told you so situation, but in the same breath, it's like people told you. So, but going back to Cameron and Mase giving a take, I think that Mase did a good job of kind of like, I don't really want to say too much. Cam did the OG stance where he kind of was like, it was like good angel, bad angel, or good angel and then devil. And he was just like, man, nah, y'all need to. He was like, nah, I wouldn't have did that. I mean, he had some good points, but I still think it goes back to who you are. And like I said, with the person like Cam, who been in the industry 20 plus years, he kind of can go with that mindset. But like I said, for regular people, you can't be like, oh, I'll make her sign a prenup off rip because what if this don't work? And I think these negative, pushes with like starter marriage conversations and, your first marriage is your trial marriage. I think it's just toxic, and it plants the seed in people's heads like, okay, this first one is just to get it out the way. And not saying that somebody's first marriage wasn't a trial marriage, but that's not how it was supposed to be. And now they're making it like just to settle and just accept that instead of fighting for stuff. Let me know what y'all think. Am I tripping? Am I overreacting? Let me know. But Travis Hunter, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right, y'all. I told you it's gonna be real quick today. I got one more topic. We're gonna talk about I want to say the name right. It is French president addresses his wife. It is Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron. Now, I had never heard of these people before Candace Owens. So we're gonna watch what happened. Let me share my screen, and then we're gonna go from there. Hold on, gotta restart it. Okay, let's jump into this one because what does this have to do with mental health? So Emmanuel Macron is a man, obviously the French president. The study of how we act, think, and feel. His wife, Brigitte Macron, who is 72 and he is 39. Now, again, I don't want to be the person who's the accuser of the brethren here, but all I'm going to say is if you never heard of these people, please research Candace Owens and look up what she has said about this couple and research. She's doing a whole case study on this couple. But I will say that I do know that, as that comment says, she's known him since he was 15 and she's 72. So now, this is a man getting pushed and hit on camera, and people are talking about it, and it's made mainstream. But once again, I hate to be that guy. If we flipped it here, flipped this conversation, if that was a girl, young girl, a 39-year-old woman, and a 72-year-old man pushing her in the face, it would have been much more of an uproar. And again, I know some woman is probably watching like, well, he probably cheated or he probably did this, or maybe he hits her and she got tired of it. But if you know the full backstory on that situation, I'm coming from a different lens and I want you to look it up. But if we just judging it just from this angle, even though we had already saw it, he played it off well, and it was one of those. Well, he didn't really, but he's something that you have to deal with behind closed doors, and that's what he was trying to do. And hopefully, he did that later on. What would I do in this situation? WWID. So, if I was dating a woman, or married, because they're married, and she hit me in the face, and I'm trying to play it off, I would probably have done the same thing, honestly. You know, I am not going to sit here and analyze the hit and say, oh, she does this all the time, or, oh, you know, I'm not going to do all that. But what I will say is, if it was me, it would have been, I don't know. I think I'm not going to say we definitely wouldn't have fought if it was me, but I'm going to be honest, like first reactions to a hit, you might, you know, knee jerk reaction. I don't know. I haven't only been in that situation once, and that kind of what happened. It wasn't like a full, but it was kind of like a, you know, like get away from me. And because I'm much bigger, it would have been a little different. So, you know, I don't know. I don't condone domestic violence on either party or either side, but I know there's this thing where it's like we talked about this some weeks ago with Flo Millie, and it's like again, if a woman hits a man, it's like she making jokes about, oh, I hit niggas, but if a dude would have said, well, I hit bees, it would have been, you know, I get it. We live in a world of double standards. I've explained this to my good friend, and I was telling her, you know, she was saying, we were talking about something with double standards. And I was saying that, what were we talking about? And I was saying that she was trying to say, well, this is a double standard, it's a double standard. And I acknowledge you're right. But guess what? It doesn't matter. You can try to be the revolutionary and civil rights movement leader. When it comes to double standards, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be this. It's just what it is. If a man has a bunch of women, he's a pimp. If a girl does it, she's a hoe. It's not right. It's a double standard. If a woman hits a man in a relationship, he deserves a queen. If a dude hits a woman, he's a wife beater. It's not right. They're both wrong. It is what it is. WWJD. What would Jesus do? Jesus wouldn't have been letting nobody. Well, he let them people unalive him. Because remember, he could have gotten down. He did it. He had to do it. It was prophesied, and it was for the remission of the sins, right? But I don't believe that he wouldn't have been in that type of relationship. An ethically, morally correct thing to do would have been, I think Emmanuel Macron did right. I mean, he didn't hit back. He just kind of like took it and was like, you know, and who knows what he gonna do later. Not saying he gonna get her later, like get his lick back. I hope not, but you know, I don't know. There is an age difference there. And there's much more I want to say, but I really don't want to. I want y'all to go look it up. I really implore you to look it up. In WSMD, what should men do in a situation if, you know, there again, like we said with Travis Hunter, the signs are always there. Somebody gonna hit you, they'll do it early enough to where, you know, this is a pattern. There have been scenarios where I've heard people say, one time we got into a fight, but it was just a one-time thing. But most times that's frequent. So someone shows you that they're going to hit you, unless you want to deal with that, which you don't. Check it early, or you might have to leave early. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, y'all. That is all for today. I told you, in and out. But this week's episode is great. So I'll actually be turning 31 in less than a few weeks. But This week's episode centers around an episode called I'm 30 Now What? This features a good friend of mine who's actually was on season 6, the first episode of the soft rebrand, and he's back. And we're talking about he's advanced more his career now, becoming a licensed therapist and already a counselor at a high school. And we talking about what it's like being 30. He just turned 30 and I'm exiting the year 30, but I'm 30 now. What? Coming from a situation where he had a thriving relationship. And, we think at 30, we're supposed to be married with kids and having these thriving careers. And that's not always the case. So if you're a young man and you 30 or pushing 30, this episode is for you because you might not have it all together. You might feel like something wrong with you, and you'll be able to at least see 2 young black men who are on the same page. Like, look, we ain't got it together at 30. We striving for that, but it ain't quite there yet. So this will be a good episode for you. Thank y'all for tuning into this short episode tonight. I'm about to go. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, please, because there was a lot going on. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, as always, I love us. I really love us. For real.